Today we are talking about giving ourselves permission to be average and letting go of those supermom expectations. Hi friends, welcome back to your emotional support podcast. I'm your host, Noelle Rizzio, and this season we're on a mission to help working moms stop the guilt cycle, reclaim their worth, and move from juggling to thriving. So far, we've unpacked the guilt myth and tackled the invisible load, basically the two emotional anchors most moms are dragging behind them. Today, we're cutting the rope because this episode is all about giving yourself permission to be average. That's right. This one's titled Permission to be Average, Letting Go of Supermom Expectations. Now, before you clutch your planner in horror, I promise this isn't about lowering your standards. It's about redefining them. Because somewhere along the line, motherhood turned into a competitive sport, and we're all tired of pretending we enjoy the Olympics. Let's start with this idea of supermom. Supermom does it all. She works full-time, makes Pinterest-worthy lunches, keeps her house spotless, volunteers at school, goes to spin class, and somehow still has perfect hair. Meanwhile, real-life moms are over here like, does throwing a granola bar in the backpack count as meal prep? When was the last time I washed my hair? Did I ever RSVP to that thing? No, cool, me neither. Okay. So the supermom myth is dangerous because it's sneaky. It sells us on this idea that our worth comes from how much we can accomplish and how well we can hide how tired we are. It's perfectionism dressed up in leggings and dry shampoo, and it's exhausting. Here's the truth. You can do everything right and still feel behind because the finish line keeps moving. All right, so why does the idea of average feel so wrong? Why does average seem like a bad word? Because we've been conditioned to believe average equals failure. We were raised on gold stars, honor rolls, performance reviews, participation trophies that said you are special when you excel. And then we became moms and suddenly the stakes felt higher. Now, if our kids aren't thriving, if our house isn't perfect, if our marriage isn't #goals, it feels like we're the problem. But here's the secret no one tells you. Most of life happens in average moments. The quiet mornings, the messy kitchens, the dinner that's just okay, that's where your kids learn safety, love, and connection, not from perfectly curated perfection. When we stop chasing exceptional and start embracing enough, that's when we actually start living. The best thing I ever did for myself was allow myself to not be perfect. Especially when my kids started going to daycare and school, I knew I wasn't going to be the mom that brought homemade birthday treats in for my kid. I wasn't going to be the mom that had the birthday parties with all the homemade crafts and things like that, because that's just not me. And some of my friends are like that. And so I kind of started to compare myself to that. But I realized that wasn't me, and I still got to be the best mom for my kid, even though I didn't do all those perfectly curated things, right? Our life is messy, and we get to laugh at ourselves, and that's okay. And I think that's actually really important. All right, so let's talk about the freedom in being good enough. Let's reframe that a little bit. Good enough doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care wisely and kind of strategically. It's realizing that store-bought cupcakes still make kids happy. Emails can wait. A messy home can still hold joy. Believe me, mine does. Dinner doesn't have to be balanced all the time. It just has to exist. There's freedom in lowering that unrealistic bar. When you let yourself be average, you start noticing what's actually meaningful. Your kids' laugh, your own breath, that tiny pocket of calm between all the chaos. Because perfection chases approval, but presence builds connection. And connection is what your family really needs, not another Pinterest win. So how do we start letting go of this supermom mode? Let's talk about how to actually do this, because if you've lived in supermom mode for years, it's really hard to suddenly let go of the cape. Here are a few ways to start easing into good enough living. First, you need to pick your priorities. You can do anything. I truly believe that, but you can't do everything. Choose what actually matters to you and let the rest slide without guilt. And if you need to go back to the episode about the guilt myth, go ahead. Learn to laugh at the chaos. The messiest moments often become the funniest memories. When things go sideways, ask, will this matter in 5 years? If not, it's probably okay to laugh about it. Or you might even get a new story, a new family story to look back on. Practice visible imperfection. Let your kids see you mess up and handle it with grace. This teaches them that resilience and self-worth are important. And it also teaches them resilience and self-worth way more than perfection ever could. Okay? I'm sorry, I have to go back to that. My son sees me mess up all the time. And I often say, I don't know. Let's find out together. And I think that that is one of the best lessons as parents that we can give, is that we are not the expert on everything. But let's figure it out together. Okay? Trade comparison for connection. When you're tempted to scroll and compare, text a friend instead. Real connection fills that space that comparison empties. And then say out loud to yourself, that's good enough. Seriously, make it a mantra, because every time you say it, you're retraining your brain to believe that enough is enough. You are enough. And sometimes good enough is good enough. Here's the thing, mama. Average doesn't mean boring. It means real. It means you're not performing anymore. You're participating. When you drop the Supermom act, you make space for your actual life, not the highlight reel, but the beautiful, messy, honest one. You don't need permission from anyone else to be human. But just in case you do, here it is. You officially have permission to be average. The best thing I did was stop posting all these pictures on Facebook that made my life look like it was absolutely perfect. Because one, it is absolutely not. But two, it got really tiring to try to remember to get a picture here and post a picture there and do that. Like, I love to take pictures so that my kid has it for memories when he grows up. But I don't need that validation of posting it on Facebook and having 1 million people like it. I send it to my mom because she wants to know what we're up to, but that's really about it anymore. You don't need that external validation to know that you are great and you are a great mom. Just look at your kids. All right, my friends, that is it for today's episode of your Emotional Support Podcast. If this one made you laugh, sigh with relief, or whisper same, please share it with another mom who needs permission to be imperfect too. Next week, we are diving into my favorite topic, our inner critic, silencing that voice that says you are not enough. And yes, it is going to get real. Until then, take a deep breath, untie that cape, and remember, average you is already amazing. I'm so glad you're here. Have a great night.